Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. I am driving down the street because I have to go to get a checkup, and I want to recommend to all the brothers out there, keep going to the doctor, man, because if you don't, that shit will catch up with you, and you will go down bloody and burning. It becomes a big mess, for yourself and for your family. So you want to handle your business. Part of handling your business means going and getting your medical stuff checked out. But anyway, I was having a debate the other day with somebody about free college tuition, and I want to get a take from you guys. You've seen some of the presidential candidates, Elizabeth Warren and some others, kind of touting free tuition as sort of a touting the free tuition thing as kind of the big thing in response to the student loan debt crisis. So I'd like to ask you guys, do you think that free tuition is a good thing or a bad thing for the country? Good or bad? Give me a good or bad based on what you think about free tuition. Do you think it's good or it's bad? Hey, Deatrice, what's going on? I can't really see your all your comments because I want to drive. I don't want to crash into anything. But I see, okay, so Adrian says good. What do you guys think? Do you think that free tuition is a good thing or a bad thing for the country? Okay, I see a good. Okay. Carlos says bad. Good day from Pensacola. Thank you, Juanita. Okay, I see a lot of goods. I'm seeing a lot more goods than bad. And I'm not going to say that it's a bad thing, right? I think that, here's what I think, right, in terms of, right, undecided. I think undecided in the shell is probably where I am, right? On one hand, I will say that I do think from an economic standpoint, we do need a balance where we have some strong Democrats that can really push an economically liberal agenda to kind of balance the fact that we're overly conservative on economic issues. And what I mean by that is, in America, you are actually looking at a really prolific, horrific debt crisis that's been sort of manifesting itself over time because we have people that don't want to pay taxes. You got wealthy people out here paying almost nothing. And what it's done is it's really drawn the country's deficit situation out of control. All right, guys, I have to keep flipping over because my GPS is not telling me which direction to go. It's supposed to give me directions at the top of the screen. It's not doing that. So I feel like this deficit thing has gotten out of control because the wealthy of America have not paid their fair share. I think that their greed's going to come back and get them the same way it came back and got the NCAA. The NCAA didn't even want to give athletes, $2,000 or $3,000 a month just to pay their bills and make sure they could eat. So now they're going to lose billions of dollars because now California has basically made it, the law that you must pay student athletes for the use of their image. You can't just rob them like that. And so I think the same thing is true with this country. I think greed is gonna cause us a problem. I'm a big fan of, I'm a fan of some of the ideas of like an Elizabeth Warren, even a Bernie Sanders. I think the dangers, though, of a Bernie Sanders or an Elizabeth Warren is that a lot of their ideas are not well vetted in terms of economic theory. These are not economists that are making these rules. These are not business people that are making these rules. And what's also problematic is that many of these individuals who talk about the poor and this, that, and the other, they're multimillionaires. Bernie Sanders made over $1 million last year and only gave about 10%, I think less than 10% of his income, maybe it was 5% or something, to charity, right? So, you would think that these people keep switching over to take a look at the directions. But you would think that these people who are so concerned about the poor and so concerned about economic distribution would distribute some of their own wealth, but they're not really doing that. If you look at their tax returns, these people are making crazy amounts of money and they're not really sharing that money. I think they said that Bernie Sanders' total charitable contributions were like $10,000, which is nothing for a person that makes $1 million a year. That's literally nothing. And so a lot of people have called him out for that, and I think that they should. Now, the thing about free tuition is I think free tuition is something that has been done in other countries, and it's been done reasonably well. You must also remember, though, that these are countries also that have much, much higher tax rates. Also, one of the downsides of free tuition is that, if tuition is no longer a barrier to separate people that are serious about education versus those who want to spend their money elsewhere, you could possibly see a flooding of people with college degrees, which ultimately, from a simple supply-demand perspective, could cause the value of a degree to go down. It could mean that, if you're a person who sacrificed and worked 2 or 3 jobs and saved up your money and spent a chunk of your wealth to get a degree, now you're going to be in the same space as somebody who spent nothing to get that same degree, and there'll be a lot more of you, which will reduce the value, which could reduce the value of your degree. I've seen that happen, for example, in economics. In the field of economics, among other fields, they don't really seem to understand supply and demand. So they flood the market with all these PhDs in economics. And what happens on the job market is you have these super smart people who can't get a job and can't pay the rent, who can't pay their bills. And you're thinking, why would you not be able to pay your bills if you have a PhD? Well, it's because there's so many of you that nobody really values what you have. Whereas our field, finance, which was right across campus, I took a lot of classes with students who were in economics. They were very smart people. Usually the economists, the mathematicians, and the statisticians were the smartest ones in our classes. But we made the most money. Why did we make the most money, even though the mathematicians, the economists, and the statisticians knew more about our field than we did? A lot of times it was because there were a ton of them and a small number of us. And we basically carefully controlled the population of people that got PhDs in finance. Like you apply to a lot of PhD programs in finance. Like when I applied to NYU, there were 400 applicants and they only took in 8 people. And I was pissed because I was number 9 on the list. They told me I was number 9, and they said normally one person doesn't come and then you can come in. And I really wanted to go to NYU, and everybody took their offer, so I didn't get to go to NYU. But still though, like it was one of those things where, where supply and demand is something that people think about, and it makes a difference in terms of outcomes and opportunities. Whereas other fields, they just sort of flood the world with people with these same credentials, and the credentials don't mean anything. It becomes like a high school diploma. Give me 1 second, guys. I gotta look and make sure I'm going in the right direction. Hold on. I'm good. Okay, so I think that's the downfall of free tuition. The other thing that I don't like is I'm hoping that the free tuition plan is not like Obamacare. Obamacare was a farce because Obamacare, I'm not gonna say it was a farce, but it was kind of fucked up for the country financially. The reason it was fucked up for the country financially, to me, is because basically they were trying to have their cake and eat it too. They were trying to say, like, okay, how do we give free healthcare to everybody without the healthcare industry losing money? We want you to still make your insane profits that you make, your unfair, unreasonable profits that you make from death and sickness and illness in this country, but we're still going to give free healthcare. So what they eventually did, are you guys able to hear me? Let me know if you can hear me okay. If you can hear me okay, let me know. Let me know if I'm coming through okay, because I hear some of you saying that I'm breaking up a little bit. Am I breaking up, or can you hear me? You can hear me? Okay, good. Thank you, Lori and Delvon and Jeff and Nichelle. Okay, so with Obamacare, what I didn't like about it was I think that the fundamental problem, or one of the fundamental problems in America, is that these healthcare companies are overcharging people. Universities are overcharging people. 2 things you cannot afford to do in America are go to college and get sick. Those are 2 things you cannot afford to do on a regular person's income. And that's why you see people that are buried under so much student loan debt they can never repay it, or they get buried under medical debt they can never repay it. Those are the 2 financial death traps. Those are the 2 financial STDs that you can never cure. Those are 2 financial hamstrings that will literally tie your ass down and put you into economic slavery, is getting sick or going to school. So it doesn't mean going to school is bad. It just means that there are probably more efficient ways to do it. So I think the fundamental issue is not just making college free. The fundamental issue is getting these universities to stop overcharging the American public. Like, I think that I don't know if they would implement cost controls. There's limitations to that. I don't know if it means having regulations, like regulating them like utilities, where you can only increase your prices if they're fully justified and up to a certain point. Because right now, universities have become the Pablo Escobars of American society. Remember, Pablo Escobar was a dude that was making so much money slinging dope that literally he lost $2 billion a year because the rats ate $2 billion of his money, and he didn't even miss it. He made so much money that the rats ate $2 billion a year, and he just wrote it off as taxes or whatever the hell he did. I mean, it was like he wrote it off as just a cost of doing business. And so ultimately, these universities have become the Pablo Escobars of the American public, and I think that we need to deal with that. You need to kill the dope dealers that are out here robbing the American public, because universities literally have money to burn. That's why a lot of universities that are in gentrified communities are actually sitting around buying up, black communities everywhere because they've got so much extra money just sitting around that they're looking to find things to do. They have all these administrators that they don't even need because they got so much extra money. So what my argument is that rather than simply dealing with making college free because it costs too much, maybe you should deal with the fact that it costs too much, right? Maybe we can try to go back to something similar to the days where, a person can have 2 jobs and pay their way through school, which was the way it was 20, 30 years ago. So sometimes these subsidies that come from the government do not benefit the people the way you think. They actually cost you, whether they cost you up front or cost you on the back end, they're going to cost you. And these universities still get to make the same amount of money. So they're like, we don't give a shit if it's free or not. As long as we're getting paid, as long as somebody's paying the tuition, we don't care if it's paid by you, if it's paid by the student, or if it's paid by some student loan that they're never going to repay. We give zero shits about that. So I personally think universities need to be held accountable for the fact that they're overcharging the American public. Now, give me a second, guys. I got to see where I'm at because this thing is not giving me directions. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I know this is awkward. This is weird. Last piece. Here's the last piece. One thing about this whole debate about whether or not college should be free, one other point that they're missing is they're not missing one important question that you must ask yourself as well. The government is not going to save you. Just by the way, in case you thought the government's going to come save black folks, you need to kind of get off that fantasy because they ain't coming to ever save your ass. They give zero shits about you. I'm just telling you the truth. It's best for me to be honest with you so we can start this relationship with some honesty attached. And so the government arguing that tuition should be free is fine, but they're missing the fundamental question that you should be asking yourself. Is a 4-year university worth the time for you based on what your economic objectives are? I'm gonna tell you like this. I know broke people, I know working class people, I know people that are doing okay, I know people that are wealthy, I know people that are just stinky fucking rich. Most of the people I know that are wealthy and stinky fucking rich are not people who use their college degrees to become stinky rich. There are a couple. I know a doctor and his wife. They're both physicians, and they're stinky rich, but they're not the richest people I know. They make maybe $800,000 a year, and I think that's great. But the people I know that make $4, $5, $6 million a year, some of them didn't even go to college. A lot of them didn't go to school at all. What they do is they're entrepreneurs. They're entrepreneurs and they're investors. They own property. They're buying and selling, multifamily property units, and they're, investing in the stock market, and they're going out and starting new businesses every day. That's what the stinky rich people I know, the stinky fucking rich people I know are doing things like that. They're not sitting around contemplating on whether or not they were a history major or a biomechanical studies major in college. That stuff doesn't matter to them. So here's the thing. College is a place, and I've taught on college campuses for 25 years, so I don't think college is a worthless thing. The woman I'm going to marry is a college professor, so I would dare not ever sit around and tell you that college is always a complete waste of time. But here's what I'm going to tell you in terms of the truth. College is not always a place that gives you real skill. College gives you 4 years of learning, and you're learning a bunch of information, some of it helpful, some of it not, some of it random, some of it specific. That's not the same as somebody who goes to school for a year or two specifically to learn a specific task that's going to help them do a specific job specifically well. College does not do that. College gives you this experience where, you spent, first of all, you're in college 4 years, and college students, most of them are lazy as fuck. I ain't gonna lie. Most college students, even when I went to school, and the ones that, some of y'all know what I'm talking about, it's like literally college is all about the social experience. Now, the social experience is valuable, but the question is that social experience worth $60,000 a year? And is it worth all the time that you could be spending doing other things to advance your life? I don't know. I know entrepreneurs who are building their businesses and still have a great social life. They drink plenty of beer and party and whatever after they finish working. When the guys built Facebook, what they did? They rented a big ass house, and it was like a big frat house, and Mark Zuckerberg and all his homeboys sat around drinking beer and bringing over women, and the whole time they're programming on the computer. They called them programmers, and they were sitting around having more fun than you have on a college campus, and they happened to make like about $10 billion during that time period, right? So there's ways to have that fun experience without going to an expensive university that's going to detach you from the realities of the real world. I'm going to tell you this. I don't know, as black people, if we have time to live in a fantasy world. I think as black people, we have to live in the real world, and I think that some of this stuff stuff is not real world shit. It's just not. It's you know, all you go to campus, and I mean, I've seen so many people spend more time preparing for a damn step show, stepping and barking and hazing and drinking and all this other stuff. They spend more time doing that than they actually spent thinking seriously about their future. Like, seriously, go to a college campus and just ask the students serious questions about their future and what they're seriously trying to do and how much time they're putting in every day to seriously achieve very serious goals in the long term. And most of them are, if you watch their behavior, most of the time is spent engaged in social activities. So college is part educational, but a bigger part social. I think that there are people that are actually waking up to this. There are people that are writing very sophisticated, detailed articles where they're cataloging how little college students are actually learning when they go to school. Unfortunately, they're not learning as much as we think. We think that because you sit there on a campus for 4 years, you're going to learn something. No, you learn when you open the damn book. You learn when you're sitting around reading. When I would teach college students, it was so sad to me because I would have students where I would literally be looking at somebody thinking, I can tell you ain't done shit since the last exam. We had a test a month ago. I've been telling you about this test for 40 days and you spent 38 days not studying at all. So you waste 38 days of your life doing God knows what, right? So what I'm just trying to tell you guys is that it ain't all it's cracked up to be. College is cool. Go do it if that's what you want to do, whatever. But just know that there are bigger dreams out there. And if I could do it all over again, I'm going to tell you the truth. I mean, sure, college benefited me. I had my PhD and all that. But that was because I was on hustle mode, man. I was a straight A student. I got a triple major with 2 bachelor's degrees in 4 years and could have got 3 if I'd really decided to push toward the end, I just got a little bit lazy. But I got 2 bachelor's degrees in 4 years, was the #1 black student on the entire campus. I was serious about my grind. I studied 4 to 6 hours a day. I went on and got I completed the requirements for 3 different master's degrees. I only picked up 1 because I only needed 1. And then I got my PhD in finance. And that was because I was committed to studying 4 to 6 hours a day, 7 days a week, including Christmas. How many students you know that really do that? So, and here's the other thing. That hustle, if I put that hustle into anything, I would have been successful no matter what. If I put that hustle into learning how to become a multi-millionaire entrepreneur, I'd probably be able to be great, just as great at that, right? So I'm not trying to tell you that education is worthless. I'm just trying to tell you that you got to know what's real versus what's fake. You know, some of this stuff that's overpriced and some of the stuff that's very traditional that everybody's doing. I'm going to tell you like this. If you want to get an extraordinary outcome, here's a quick secret. I'm going to let you guys go. If you want to have an extraordinary outcome, you got to do something different. If you do what everybody else is doing, you're going to get what everybody else is getting. So if you're looking for if you're looking for the big piece of chicken, like the big opportunity, the big outcome that very few people get, don't do what everybody else is doing. You need to go to those special corners of the world where the true ballers live, where the true winners live, the true champions live, and learn from them. Don't go learn from these mediocre motherfuckers because they'll keep you in the land of average for the rest of your life. Don't be average, be extraordinary. That's why you're here. It's because you're extraordinary. That's why you watch this channel, because you think in a different way. I'm encouraging you to continue to be different. That's really the best thing I can tell you. So anyway, I got to go. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the notification bell. I'll be in New York in 2 days. We're almost sold out of tickets. So you might not want to buy at the door. You probably want to buy in advance. You can go to drboycenewyork.com if you want to come to our seminar. It's drboycenewyork.com. Also, if you are interested in joining the Black Business School, feel free to go talk to one of our reps. You can go to theblackbusinessschool.com. That's theblackbusinessschool.com. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Have a great day. Peace.